Legends of the street. That's a walking legend right there. Legendary. They whisper about him in corners.
Wagwan. You already know what time it is. It's your boy Big Truck. Hey, everybody wants to know what's going on with the Karmelo Anthony situation. We're going to wrap it taste a little bit. Then the spirit of the universe is going to take us home. Shout out to the Information Man Show. And shout out to The Real Dana. And shout out to my man Judge Joe Brown. They all got some things to say. I have some things to say. Again, the spirit of the universe is going to take us home. So without further ado, grab your shoulder pads and your helmet, and let's get this work.
You made a safe place for the truth to be told.
17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was silent after bonding out of the Collin County Jail and being placed on house arrest.
How is this self-defense?
2 days after the family of Austin Metcalf buried their son, they were at the Collin County Courthouse for a bond reduction hearing Monday. Karmelo Anthony is accused of stabbing and killing Metcalf at a Frisco track meet earlier this month. The case has quickly become national news, drawing a lot of attention, resulting in threats and increased security at the courthouse.
Threats and, talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family.
Anthony stabbed Metcalf during a fight. When an officer arrived, court documents say Anthony told the officer, "I was protecting myself." Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis spoke after the hearing.
The judge has made the call, and so what's important is what's next, and it's our job to be level-headed, to be fact-based, and to follow the truth wherever it leads.
Anthony's father testified he's taking a leave from work because of the incident, and his wife is a stay-at-home mother with 3 other children. During the hearing, the prosecution brought up the fact that more than $400,000 have been raised for the Anthony family, saying a reduction is not needed because they have the funds. A big question in this case will be, why did Anthony bring a weapon to a high school stadium?
Let me just say this. There's something fishy about this whole thing. And I see a lot of people in their feelings and their emotions. One thing about Judge Joe Brown, he gonna give you facts. He gonna give you his truth from a logic and a law enforcement standpoint. He been there. He's the judge. You can clearly look at Karmelo Anthony and you can tell something wrong with that boy. However, as this case continues to carry out, you're going to see more and more things be exposed.
He's the one that shot his mouth off and said, "I defended myself." But you see, that's the lay idea of, I had a right to do that. No, you don't. You have a right to fist fights. I mean, if all you're going to take is a physical beating that is not going to be life-threatening, even if you're going to take that beating, you don't have any justification for using deadly force to resist it. It's just, you got your butt beat. Plain and simple.
When you're fighting someone, or let me use this illustration. You have a firearm, the other person doesn't, and you use your firearm. It doesn't match the threat. The threat has to be equal or more. In Karmelo's case, if he would have used his hands, one thing. But the moment he used a weapon, it outweighed the threat.
All you're facing is getting your behind whipped. You can't kill somebody under those circumstances, because it must be something that causes a reasonable belief that you are in danger of suffering death or serious bodily injury, which is not a split lip, black eye, or bruises. It has to be a life-threatening injury.
Mm-hmm. Those are the things they taught us when I was going through my training. And if you are in a situation where your life was in danger, just like Judge Joe Brown said, even then using force, when it comes to using lethal force, that is your last resort. Okay? Let's look at that. See, how many times do we have to go through this rigmarole? Generation to generation. This new generation, I'm not gonna fist fight you. I'm gonna just pick up a piece and pum you. You see? That's cowardly. Everybody else is beginning to ask the same questions. Why would you take a knife to a track meet? I ran track before. There's do's and don'ts running track, especially if it's an invitational track meet or a dual track meet.
And that's not likely to happen between 17-year-olds in an unarmed fist fight. Not without some particular circumstances. Actually, it looks worse now that you tell me they were not acquainted with each other, because he, unlike the previous tales, would have no reason to think this particular individual was going to do him harm. And all that's going on is, by the way, evicting somebody in a trespass situation.
As we start to look at certain things, as certain things begin to unravel about Karmelo Anthony, this was not his first physical altercation with someone. Let's make that clear. Okay. How did he grow up at home? What was his parents like? Some are saying, oh, he was, being bullied. What was being said that led up to that event, that situation taking place? Something must have happened. Okay. Oftentimes, could it be, they say Karmelo Anthony was being bullied. Could it be the bully also got bullied? Can we look at that? See, we look at all things, we rule out nothing. Was Karmelo Anthony being a bully himself? Is this karma? Who knows? What really happened? What's really going on? These are certain questions. We have to look into things instead of looking at things. The judge. Oh, she's an advocate. Okay, she's part of Black Lives Matter. Okay, now, okay, we can kind of paint a picture here. Is he gonna get a slap on the wrist? Okay. We seeing how things, we looking into things. We're looking into a whole lot of things. Y'all trying to make it a race, something about a race war? We're gonna talk about that too. Let's continue. It's much more deeper than what we're seeing, but the truth is gonna come out. You're gonna start seeing certain things being exposed.
Not your team. This is not your school, and we don't want you here. And that's when the incident apparently ensued. He only went there not to just chill out, just for shelter for a quick minute and then leave, but it was an altercation that took place.
He went there because there was an altercation. So that leads me to believe you looking for something. You took it upon yourself to go to somebody else's space, somebody else's area, to start something.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way know why they take it the wrong way.
What is he talking about?
Let me explain. So Austin McCaff's father showed up to the press conference. And so he's talking about how it was, you could say, disrespectful for the father to do that.
Why? Remember, that's the same thing the boy that's on trial did. He showed up at somebody else's home bench and he decided to intrude. So if he can do it, why can't this dead boy's father do the exact same thing?
I don't find it anything wrong, to be honest with you. I don't find it being a problem with, McCaff father showing up. Again, individuals are trying to make this seem like a race war. You got your Black Lives Matter. your FBAs, your CBAs, your NBCs, your TSAs, your TSGs, your BGs, trying to make it something that it's not, that it's clearly not. Okay. Karmelo Anthony was wrong for doing what he did. Okay. Got to pay for that. You took a life. You had no right taking. Got to pay for that. Because if the role was reversed, oh my God. Why is it that large number of individuals use death as a come up? Use person's death as a come up. Why do they do that? And make money. I'm telling you, shit is about to get real and get exposed. And people to be on social media, you better sit back and watch. Shit's going to unfold little by little.
So he opened up this press conference saying that it was disrespectful, and I don't know why he opened up the press conference saying that. I don't know why Austin McCaff's father, Mr. McCaff, was there. Maybe it wasn't to be disruptive,
I don't know why Karmelo Anthony did what he did. There's a lot of situations where we don't know why folk do what they do. But that dead boy's father was not wrong for showing up. He was not wrong for showing up. He has every right to show up. It has something to do with someone else taking his son's life. You damn right he has a right to show.
Laid hands on. See, that's part of this thing. They better not touch my child. And when I grew up, we are a better generation in terms of our behaviors, our courage and stamina and initiative, because, boy, come in here. Mr. Miller, I didn't do anything. Yes, you did, boy. I can see it in your eyes. What you do? All right, tell you what. Put your hands on your knees. Look at that wall. Don't you eyeball me. You get one. Wham! All right, now get out of here and get it off your mind. Don't even think about it.
See, and that right there, when it comes to disciplining in a home, in this generation, shit, I feel sorry. And you wonder why a large number of men and women behave the way they behave. Because if you go back to their childhood, there was no discipline. See, when I grew up, one person messed up, everybody got their ass whipped. But see, growing up, I had structure. Where is the family structure? I don't care if it's a single parent or a two-parent household. Where is the structure? It's not about black or white. Where is the structure?
They walked him out. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't even mention that he was there.
It's a press conference. It's a track meet.
We just have to do our part and really looking into this thing and really doing our research and really sitting back and seeing how this thing is going to unfold.
He was placed inside the police vehicle. He asked an officer if McCaff was going to be okay and if what happened could be considered self-defense. Now, attorneys, Anthony...
Stop right there a second. He went wrong. He ran his mouth off too much. He had the witnesses going for him. But if he did that, then what happens is he just quasi-removed his defense, because self-defense says you can't escalate the force used unless there is disparate strength between the person who is attacked and the person.
So basically what Judge Joe Brown is saying here, to get it to say it plain, is that if you are under attack, you can't use force against the other person without it being an equal force.
But you can use the amount of force to counter the attack. You see, you have to, when we say use amount of force to counter the attack, meaning what techniques or what were you doing to counter, to keep from being attacked?
It's this: if someone's fighting you with bare knuckles, then you can fight them back with your bare knuckles. But once you bring a a firearm into it, and in this case, a knife, and that person doesn't have a knife, then it becomes an imbalance in that battle, right?
Because those are type of weapons that will cause bodily harm or lethal death.
Young, strong guys are not supposed to escalate physical force where it is of non-lethal violence into using a weapon and becoming lethal violence.
When you look into him, you can tell something wrong with him. You can look at him and tell something wrong with him. You can look at him and tell he's used to getting his way. He hard-headed. You can also tell there's some events that took place in his childhood. I don't know what, but there's some childhood events that took place. He looked like the type of person that'll bully somebody. Arrogant. But again, look at his mother and father. Like I said before, this whole situation here, okay, it stinks. It smells like shit. Okay? It's something fishy about all of this. And we're going to sit back and we're going to see how this thing play out.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Same thing with this judge. What's up with this judge? Okay, she's a black advocate. She's with the Black Lives Matter. Okay, we can kind of see how that go. Why would you take a knife to a track meet? What's really going on? Money for the GoFundMe. And I have to say it. Race wars and stuff like this. Money's being made. People making money off of other people's deaths. Money's being made off of racially motivated situations.
Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side.
Yeah, we're going to call that thing out. We're not saying that's what's being done, but you know what? Sitting back, looking at everything, you do not rule it out. You cannot be making this shit up. So let me know your thoughts. Hey, it's not about what I think or what I feel. I'm just bringing information and we talking about it. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your boy Big Truck here at the King's Table. Go live your best life for many people to see. Take that with you and go be great. One.
Victory lap.